Hello, this is John from caveofprogramming.com. At the moment we've got a basic non-Spring web application here, and now it's time to start Springifying it. So the first step is we want to use Maven with this project because we need to bring in those Spring jars, and we're going to use Maven to do it. So to do that, I've got my project here and I'm going to right click it, and there are many ways that we could do this, as is the case with pretty much all of the stuff that I'm showing you here. But I'm going to try and show you how to do this in a way that feels as much as possible as though we're building it up step by step from kind of logical little steps, rather than just trying to hand over responsibility to some kind of plugin or something. So having said that, I'm going to use the Maven plugin. So I'm going to right click the project and I'm going to go to configure, and as long as you've got the Maven plugin installed there, or some kind of Maven plugin, you should have the option to convert to a Maven project. So let's click that, and this isn't going to radically change the project. All it's going to do is add some Maven stuff to it. So I'm going to give it a group ID. Let's give it a group ID com.caveofprogramming.spring.web, and of course you can give it one that makes sense for you. And the artifact ID, I'll make one up. Let's call it web test or something like that. Maybe I'll call it offers, because this is I'm going to use the database stuff that we saw previously to display lists of offers on this website, things that people are willing to do for money. And so that looks okay. I've got the group ID and the artifact ID, and let's just click finish. And what this does is it adds this pom.xml basically, and if we double click that and go to the dependencies tab, because I've got the Maven plugin installed, so we can see this stuff. So, and now just as before, I need to add the right jars. So I'm going to click add under dependencies here, and let's type in org.spring-framework. And I'm going to start by adding just the basic Spring jars. So let's add in here Spring core, and let's type that again, org.spring-framework. I'm not sure if there's a way of doing this all in one go. And of course you need to be connected to the internet as well to get this to work, otherwise you probably won't see anything in here. We'll definitely need Spring beans. The good thing about this is that you can pretty much, once you know what you're doing with Spring a little bit, you can just figure it out pretty much from scratch quite easily. We'll need Spring context. We're going to add sort of component scanning and stuff like that. And let's add, while we're at it, let's have the JDBC jar. You can always add more jars later as well if you miss one out, but you might get strange errors that puzzle you if you do miss something. So we've got the basic stuff plus JDBC, and we need a couple more as well. I'm going to scroll down here and look for Spring Web. So here we've got Spring Web. Let's add that in. And I'm also going to add in the MVC jar. So if we look down here, there's a Spring-MVC or something like that. Here we go, Web MVC, this one. So I'm going to add the jar for that as well, and save that. So that's all we're going to do in this tutorial. This might take a while to download if it's the first time you've done it, but if you've been following this tutorial through in order, then it won't be the first time you've done this. Your project should still work as before. So if we select home.jsp here, right click and go to run on server, sometimes this can be a bit kind of finicky and you need like a couple of goes, like this for example, but usually it will work. If this doesn't work, I'm just going to stop and leave it because I think this is just complaining that there's some kind of conflict with a project that I've previously created, but I'm not going to worry about that now. We'll press on, and in the next tutorial we're going to look at beginning to implement the Spring model view controller kind of architecture. So like the Spring MVC framework, of course, uses this model view controller architecture where the data related stuff is part of the model. The kind of presentation stuff is part of the view, and the controller kind of hooks the two up and tells them what to do. So we'll start looking at that in the next tutorial, and until next time, happy coding.